Welcome to a bonus edition of Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. I'm Joe Reed, and with me is Laura Rossi, and she is going to do an Earphones Roundup. She's going to talk about audiobooks that have won earphones, one that she has listened to, one that she is listening to, and one that's on her short list. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Hello, Joe. Happy summer.
Happy summer to you, finally.
Finally is right. My favorite season and my favorite listening season.
So what have you listened to?
Joe, recently I listened to Get Shorty, Chili Palmer Book 1 by Elmore Leonard, read by Joe Mantegna.
I love Get Shorty, and I love Elmore Leonard. Love, love, love.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that, Joe. I have a little backstory to tell you before we get into our sound clip and a little bit about this audiobook.
Okay.
This title, of course, Get Shorty, is classic Elmore Leonard, and 2025 in October marks the centennial of Elmore Leonard's birth. And Elmore, a beloved writer, he had many works, sort of Western Hollywood hard-boiled mysteries. And guess what, Joe?
I'm ready. What?
I was Elmore Leonard's publicist for several of his books when I worked in New York in-house at Random House.
How much fun was that?
It was wonderful, and he lived up to his nickname, the Dickens of Detroit, and also his other nickname, which a lot of people don't know, Dutch, which was a name that came from admiration for a baseball player, Emile Dutch Leonard.
Oh, my goodness.
You can't get any better, though, than Get Shorty, right? I mean, there's the movie starring John Travolta, and of course, the incomparable novel written by Elmore Leonard, published, oh gosh, I can't remember the year it was published.
I don't either. I honestly don't, because the movie was made in the 90s.
Yes, the movie was made in the 90s, so we'll add that to the show notes, maybe. So, Joe, I really loved Joe Mantegna's performance. Of course, we know him as a wonderful actor, and of course, you need someone to be Chili Palmer when you think about John Travolta having been in the movie. So Joe has probably the only audio narration voice that I could ever imagine for Chili. It's gritty, it's rough, and warning to listeners, this audiobook does have its fair share of curses. So it may not be
Elmore Leonard.
It may not be family friendly car listening if you're road tripping this summer. Pop on your headphones, and we're going to do a sound clip shortly that I think is curse free. So we'll keep it clean here. And this clip, Joe, I'll set it up, is about the character that Chili has fallen in with, some bad guys. This is Bo Catlett, a drug dealer.
Okay, but before we get there, can you give us just a thumbnail of the plot for people who might not have read Get Shorty or seen the film? Who's Chili Palmer?
So Chili Palmer, whose real name is Ernesto, is the star character in Elmore Leonard's crime novel. He's a Miami loan shark. He's kind of fed up with his job, and he decides to try to make a fresh start in Hollywood, where he attempts to become a film producer. And the whole story follows the movie industry's glam, what's treacherous there, and of course, Chili Palmer's life of crime keeps catching up with him, regardless of how quickly he sort of tries to run ahead of it and fulfill his new ambitions.
Oh, okay, this is Get Shorty, Book 1, and it's written by Elmore Leonard and read by Joe Mantegna.
Bo Catlett liked to change his clothes 2 or 3 times a day, get to wear different outfits. In less than 2 hours, he was meeting friends at Mateo's in Westwood, so he dressed for dinner before driving out to the airport. Seated now in the Delta terminal across the aisle from the gate where the mule from Miami would arrive by way of Atlanta, Catlett had on his dove-gray double-breasted Armani with a nice long roll lapel. He had on a light blue shirt with a pearl gray necktie and pearl cufflinks. He had on light blue hose and dark brown Colhan loafers, spit-shined. The loafers matched the attaché case next to him on the row of seats. Resting on the attaché case was a Delta ticket envelope, boarding pass showing, for anyone who might think he was sitting here with some other purpose in mind. Anyone who might think they recognized him from times before. Like that casual young dude wearing the plaid wool shirt over his white t-shirt with the jeans and black Nikes. Catlett liked to watch people going by, all the different shapes and sizes and all different kinds of clothes, wondering when they got up in the morning if they gave 2 seconds to what they were going to wear, or they just got dressed, took it off a chair, or reached in the closet and put it on. He could pick out the ones who had given it some thought. They weren't necessarily the ones all dressed up either.
Oh, he is perfect for this, just perfect. I mean, the cadence, the tonality, it's like he is Chili Palmer.
I agree, Joe. I would advise anyone, if you've read the book or watched the movie, revisit Get Shorty and listen to this edition.
Especially for the summer. I mean, it is a perfect summer listen. You're on your way to the beach, you're sitting on the beach.
I agree.
Yep. Perfect book. I am definitely going to listen to this.
I'm so happy to hear that, Joe, and I'm delighted to hear that you're also an Elmore Leonard fan.
A huge one. And I am so surprised and thrilled to hear that you were his publicist.
Lucky me.
Lucky you and lucky us. Okay, so your first book was Get Shorty, Chili Palmer, Book 1 by Elmore Leonard, read by Joe Mantegna. What are you listening to now?
So I switched directions, Joe, and I went completely about face and I picked nonfiction. And I'm currently listening to Life in Three Dimensions: How Curiosity, Exploration, and Experience Make a Fuller, Better Life. This book is by Shigehiro Oishi and it's read by Brian Nishii.
Oh, I like Brian Nishii a lot.
I love Brian Nishii. The way his unique voice takes you to a different place with emotion, but he's still very crisp and deliberate and controlled. I really got hooked on his narration of The Family Chow. And because I always like learning about happiness and reading about happiness research, when I saw this title, I thought, wow, I want to hear how Brian narrates.
Can you give us, obviously it's a big book, but just a teeny bit of what Oishi is talking about?
Yes. So this title is probably best described as a personal growth audiobook. And the author is a psychology professor, and he talks about having richness in your life in the third dimension, which he calls having a psychologically rich life, that we have to nurture curiosity, explore the unfamiliar, even put ourselves in situations that might create or provoke strong emotions. And Brian Nishii takes us through Shigehiro's stories, anecdotes, and personal experience around growing up in his father's life. It's really compelling and like nothing I've ever listened to before. And I am not all the way through. This is my current listen, Joe.
Okay. It's interesting. I'm not drawn to self-help books at all.
I remember that from listening to many episodes. And for me, the hook was happiness.
Yeah.
How can we cultivate it and create it? And that toxic positivity that we see all the time online and on social media, that's not what this is about. This is really kind of having a rich inner life and cultivating things in real life. So that really, that just appealed to me. And again, maybe summer and my spirit of being a bit adventurous, being outside more, it felt like the greatest listen.
Well, why don't we hear Brian do this? Do you need to set this up?
The narration clip for this title is Shigehiro talking about his father. And it's just a beautiful passage that ends with a line that took my breath away. And that truly reflects what the entire listening experience has been for me so far.
Okay, this is Life in Three Dimensions by Shigehiro Oishi, and it's read by Brian Nishii.
Yoshi was born in a small mountain town on the island of Kyushu, Japan, known for its green tea and clementines. Like his father, grandfather, and every male ancestor before him, Yoshi has lived his entire life there, cultivating rice and tea. He chose this path after just a year of agricultural high school, when he dropped out to become a farmer. At the age of 27, Yoshi married a woman from a neighboring town and had 3 children. He played in a neighborhood softball league into his 50s and enjoyed annual neighborhood association trips to various hot springs. He still lives in the same town. He still has the same wife. And he still has the same close friends he has known since elementary school. In making these choices, Yoshi followed the path laid out by his ancestors, connecting with them through common threads of not just blood, but occupation, place, expectations, and way of life. Yoshi is my father, and I am his son a world away.
I think despite myself, I was drawn in, and I think for me, that was really Brian's voice. His ability to just share that story has a lot to do with it. His voice is so comforting. It's almost serene, right? In its tone.
We are on the same page with this, and I hope that this little teaser makes you decide to listen to the entire audiobook.
And maybe I will. Okay, and what is on the docket for you?
Joe, the next title is a big pick, and I selected it in part because I have some travel coming up, and that travel's actually some sailing with my husband, who is a devoted sailor from childhood, and it is Mark Twain by Ron Chernow, read by Jason Culp.
Well, I want you to know that on Monday, this coming Monday, Alan Minskoff, our contributor, is joining me on the podcast to talk about this very book.
Wow.
And he actually it's 44 hours, and he actually sent this document, things I did while I was listening, like gardening and walking the dogs. It's really charming. And in fact, it's going to be a feature at AudioFile magazine. It was so wonderful. So tell me why this is queued up for you.
So a few reasons. One, my husband and I both love Ron's writing. We love history. We wanted to pick something that had length. And last but not least, as a former English major, I'm a big fan of Mark Twain's writing. And I did hear a little hint that Alan was planning to review this title. So I'm going to hold out before I make it my definite to listen to till I hear his episode, because as you may have heard, this title is, I believe, 44 and a half hours of audiobook listening.
There's a lot. So let's hear a little bit.
So, Joe, I'm not sure where we might even pick an appropriate clip. I'm sure Alan will talk in detail on Monday with you. I have a tiny clip that just touches on Mark Twain's interest in the Mississippi, if you'd like to hear a little bit.
Okay, sure. That sounds great. Okay, this is Mark Twain by Ron Chernow, read by Jason Culp.
From the time he was a small boy in Hannibal, Missouri, the Mississippi River had signified freedom for Samuel Langhorne Clemens, later known as Mark Twain, a place where he could toss aside worldly cares, indulge in high spirits, and find sanctuary from society's restraints. For a sheltered, small-town youth, the boisterous life aboard the steamboats plying the river, swarming with raffish characters, offered a gateway to a wider world.
So this is going back to the very beginning at 44 hours. I'm sure Chernow encompasses everything in the book, and that's a lot for Jason Culp.
Absolutely. And Jason is a pure professional. He's been an actor, since he was probably around 10 years old, and narrating for decades now.
And the review in AudioFile magazine, it's an Earphones Award winner, and they say Twain's twang is delivered by Jason Culp, runs through this compelling and comprehensive audiobook like a vein of gold. So,
wow.
If that doesn't make it go to the top of your list, I'm not sure what will.
I agree. And I will have some time on my hands sailing about the Martha's Vineyard and Block Island areas in New England. And so this seems like a nice soundtrack.
It sounds like a wonderful soundtrack and a wonderful trip. I hope you enjoy it. Laura, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe. Have a great rest of the month.
Thank you.
Support for today's episode comes from Night Watcher, a psychological thriller read by Will Collier and Helen Laser, with an exclusive author's note from Daphne Woolsencroft.
You've been listening to a bonus edition of Behind the Mic. Behind the Mic is produced by Jessica Lockhart, Robin Witten, Michelle Cobb, Stephen Cummings, Leslie Fine, Alan Minskoff, Alex Ritchie, Laura Rossi, and Kendra Winchester are our contributors. Jennifer Dow and Coco McCracken are our editors. And the music is William Ross Chernoff's Nomads 4-Way. And I'm your host, Joe Reed. Good listening.